Hi everyone, I welcome you all back to my channel Gary Liu with yet another episode. I would like to begin this episode by thanking each one of you who has watched my video, who has listened to what I've said. But it would be more kind of you if you can let me know through commenting on my videos that how did you feel about the content I shared, how did you uh, feel about the thoughts I have, and what else do you want me to speak about. It would be really great of you guys. So today's topic on which I would be speaking is loneliness. Yes, loneliness. So, loneliness is something which is really perceived to be a very negative word, because if you say that you're feeling lonely, if you say that you're lonely, it it somehow denotes that you're missing someone or you're missing something, and you at this point of time are feeling miserable. What we have been using, the way in which we have been using this word is really negative, but the state to which we refer when we say that we are feeling lonely is not bad. It is not negative at all. In fact, that is the best time one can ever have. But somehow we are conditioned, somehow we are taught not to be alone, because every time we are alone, it feels that people have isolated us, or we have detached from something, and that too not by our own choice. So that is why it is. So that is why it is perceived to be highly negative, while it is not. So in that state of loneliness, you are not lonely. You are lonely, but that is because you feel that you are lonely. That is because you feel that you are miserable. You have landed into a situation which you never wanted to be in. But that shouldn't be the case. In fact, if you ever think, or if you ever feel that you want some space in your life, you want some time in your life, you choose to be alone. And when you choose to be alone, you call yourself alone, and that is something which you feel that you have created that space for your own self. But whenever you say that you are lonely, it denotes that is a forced situation. That is a forced state of your life. But that also happens for a reason. Why do you why do you not be alone all the time? Why are you not lonely all the time? You you know that there will never come a time in any person's life where he will be lonely for a long period of time, because that is not going to happen. That is not something natural. It happens only when you need some time to be alone. It's just that you don't realize it. And then nature plays its own game and gives you time in a forced manner. But you or me, or we just cannot understand that there is again a purpose behind that situation. So suppose there was something. Suppose I had a friend. I used to hang around with him on a daily basis. We were very, very, very close. But then something happened and he had to leave me. And not me, in fact, but he had to leave the place. Suppose we used to stay here. We used to enjoy a lot. But then something happened. Maybe he got a better job. Maybe he went for his higher study to somewhere else. So whenever he goes there, I might start feeling alone, or in fact, not alone, but lonely. He might also be feeling lonely over there, maybe, maybe not. But I definitely would be feeling lonely here, because something has detached from me. It was not my choice, it was his choice, and not if not for his choice, then it would have been something, in which he couldn't do anything. But it was definitely a forced situation of forced aloneness for me. And then I would term myself lonely. But if you look at the positive side of it, it might be that I did not get enough time to think about my own career, about my own life, because I used to hang around with him all the time. But now, in his absence, I am blessed with so much time where I can really think upon myself, where I can really work upon myself. That wouldn't have been possible in his presence. Maybe. I'm not too sure, but maybe. So, if I say that I'm feeling lonely right now because I don't have anyone, I feel lonely, I feel miserable. But the moment I start feeling that I'm not lonely, it's just that I am alone, and this time must be used in a way where I am benefited. Everything starts with our own self. So if we are somehow getting some time out where we are, where we are getting some time with only our own self, we can use it in the most optimum manner. I can utilize this time. Suppose I have a problem in painting, because I like painting, but I don't feel like I'm a good painter. So how can I improve in it if I am with so many people around me? I can improve only when I'm alone, because I am not afraid of anything. I am not afraid of anyone, in fact. I am I am with myself, and there's only one person who can criticize me or condemn me or insult my painting, which is myself. And that is not going to happen. I am not going to insult my own self. And even if somehow I am criticizing myself, it will be in a very constructive manner, I believe. So if I am alone, I get some time, for improving my skills, for owning my skills, and I can definitely be better at whatever I like, whatever I love to do. But that couldn't have been possible if I were always with people. In fact, that would be something, that would be a more dangerous situation for everyone who is together. Because if no one gets time for his own self, how will that person improve? How will that person, understand what he likes and what he doesn't? How will he, manage to do anything at all? So, being alone is really a blessing. But that will happen only with our perception. If we perceive, our being alone as bad, it will be bad. And, if I have to talk about this current scenario where, where we enjoy everything other than being with our own self, it is a very, 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 awful situation. It is a very awful state. We are not taught to be alone, and in fact, that is not something which, which has to be taught to us. In fact, that is always there. We were born alone, right? We came into existence alone. Although when we came into existence, in most of the cases, we are surrounded by so many people who celebrated our birth, but yet we were alone. You were alone. I was alone when I took birth, and there will be a there would be highest probability when I'll die alone. So that is a state where you take birth. So, and that is also the state where you leave this earth, this world. And both are, the best moments of anyone's life. So whenever a person is alone, he is in the best moment in his life. It's just that we need to understand the nitty gritties of that state. We can choose to be anything we want. So, in a similar fashion, if we feel that our being alone is a blessing, it will be a blessing. We should try more often than not to be alone. To be, to we need to practice that being alone is not a problem. We need to practice that it is the best time. It is the best moment of anyone's life where it is a period of time where you can be your own self. You don't have to care about any of the materialistic things. So suppose if I'm alone, I would not be even thinking to wear some good clothes or flaunt some other thing. It's just that I would be my own self. I wouldn't mind even combing my hair. I wouldn't even mind washing my face. Nothing of that sort happens. So that is a moment when we relax. That is a moment when we rejuvenate and unwind our own self. But if you don't know how to rejuvenate yourself, how to unwind yourself, then you will obviously face a problem. That is not a problem for you. The problem for you is that you don't know how to spend time with your own self. You must understand the processes to enjoy. You must understand how to be with yourself. The moment you understand this thing, your life would be far more happier. You would fall in love with any and everything in this world. Because that love, that compassion has to start with yourself first. And you can start loving yourself only when you are alone. Because we as human beings have always given preference to others over ourselves. So, but if we are alone, there is no other option left with us. We would, at the end, we would at the end fall in love with our own self. So, if if we are not taught to love our own selves, then let's create a situation where we are not left with any other option. How good this phenomenon is. Loneliness is bad. It is bad if you feel it is bad. Don't calling instead of calling yourself lonely, why don't you try to call yourself alone? You are alone. You are not lonely. The moment you use the word lonely, it really makes you feel miserable. It also sounds miserable. It also makes it also makes others think that you are miserable. No, that's not something good. You should say that you are alone, and you are happy. Even if you are alone, you're happy. You are enjoying. You are full of joy. You know what do you say? You are living your euphoric moment. It is a very good state. It's just that we need to understand. We need to understand that we are alone. We were always alone. So being in love is permanent. Being in love with our own self is permanent. Being in love with others might be temporary, because that would change from person to person. That will keep changing. But you are permanent. At least in your life, you are permanent, and you must love yourself. And to love yourself, that period when you are alone is the best. I hope we try not to use loneliness from now. Instead, we would say that we are alone. However, we and alone don't go together, because we means, we is a plural word. Yet, while I am saying we, it is referring to all of us in their individual capacity. So, let's just try to use alone instead of lonely. Alone sounds good. It's a happy word. Lonely sounds miserable. So let's just, and that thing will start with with the very first step you take. So if you think that you are positive, if you think you are happy being alone, you will be happy. There's no force in this world which can make you miserable if you decide that you want to be happy. There's no force at all. I hope I have contributed in a better way to your life by bringing some light to the two words which are lonely and alone. I wish you subscribe my channel so that you are updated with all my videos. And I'm again grateful to you guys for giving your precious time to me, and I'll see you in the next. Thank you so much.